Hello and welcome to A View for You, a twice-monthly journal about people and events of interest in the San Francisco Bay Area. My name is Peter Camarda. I'll be your host tonight. We're broadcasting to you live on the public access channel, Comcast Channel 76, AT&T Channel 99, and Astound Channel 30. Tonight, I'm pleased to have as my guest Edward Kaufman, who is Executive Director of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the North Bay.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Peter. Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you on the show. So I wanted to start out, I guess, giving people some background. Not everyone is completely familiar with the Big Brother, Big Sisters program, although I'm sure almost everyone has heard about it. But tell us a little bit about what it does and the size of the program and the kinds of things that you're trying to accomplish.
Sure. So I'm the Executive Director for Big Brothers Big Sisters of the North Bay, and we serve the counties of Marin, Sonoma, Solano, and Napa. And our organization is really focused on matching children ages 6 through 18 with a caring, supportive mentor one-on-one. And it's the mission that we've had for over 100 years. And at this point in our organization, we serve about 1,100 matches, about 1,600 young people total in our programs. And there's a need for a lot more growth, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard. The literature I saw said particularly that you need male volunteers to come forward to be Big Brothers. How does that work?
Well, because what we do is we take sort of the foundation of our program is what we call community-based mentoring, and it is where we take an adult, we recruit them, screen them, train them, and then match them one-on-one with a child. And then they spend time out in the community doing the things that they're both interested in, things that sound like fun for them, and it's really based on their availability. And so we have a number of young people that are waiting for a big brother or a big sister, and if you look at our wait list, we have just over 220 young people that are waiting for a mentor right now, and about 75% of those are little brothers. And so we'll match some of them with big sisters, but the majority of them are really looking for an adult male role model. And so there's always a need for men in our programs.
How did the program get started? Who had the idea for this program? And it goes back almost 100 years now, doesn't it?
It goes back actually over 100 years. Our founder was Ernest Coulter, and he was a law clerk in the New York children's courts. And one of the things that he saw is that while he was working in his court system, he was seeing boys and young men getting put away through the court system for years, decades, sometimes life. And he thought, a lot of these kids, a lot of these young men, if they had some different options in their life, if they had somebody that showed them just a different way of being, maybe they wouldn't be in his court system. And he came up with the idea that, if we could set up a program where we're matching those kids with a caring mentor that can show them a different way of being, open doors for them, give them new perspectives, maybe they wouldn't end up in those court systems. And so he actually approached a community group, much like a Rotary Club or a Lions Club today, and went to the community and said, we're failing these young boys, these young men, and we need men to stand up and be willing to be matched and be a big brother to these kids. And who would be willing to do that? And 39 men stood up, and that was the start of Big Brothers. And about a year later, a similar process happened around Big Sisters, and the birth of Big Brothers Big Sisters began. And what started with those 39 volunteers and one organization has now grown to about 380 organizations across the country that's serving about 280,000 young people.
That's magnificent. That's really a wonderful rate of growth. So the need is really ongoing. The society has changed so much in some ways, and yet this particular need has really remained kind of constant. I think we don't always realize that. We imagine that families are much more broken and needy today in some ways than they were in 1900, but I guess there's always been a need for mentors of one kind or another.
There has been always a need, and one of the things is, as I think, as our society has changed, when 100 years ago, there were many generations of families living together. There was a lot more communal support. So not only did you have your parents, but you had your grandparents and your aunt and uncle, and second cousins that were all living in the same home or in the same, within the same block. And so there was a lot more support for those young people growing up. There really was sort of a village that was raising those children. And as our community, has grown over this last decade, you've seen the evolution of the nuclear family. Well, there's a lot less support for children in a nuclear family.
Yeah.
We're talking about two parents at this point. And then when you start realizing that so many of those nuclear families, separate and end in divorce, and so many families are headed by single parent families, then you recognize even more so how these children are growing up with less and less both male and female adult role models in their lives. And so the need for our program has gotten greater over the years, not lessened.
Yeah. So I know that some of your programs are actually school-based. People mentor at a school site. How does the program interact with school systems and with the schools in general?
Well, each Big Brothers Big Sister agency, we're sort of separate nonprofits, and so there's each organization has its own different type of school-based program. For us, we have a really great program, a model we call Youth for Youth, and it was actually an opportunity to serve more young people in the North Bay by bringing in a new group of mentors, high school students.
Mm-hmm.
And so we recruit them, screen them, train them, and then supervise them on site at after-school programs. Because when we look at the needs for young people, there's a huge need for young people to have meaningful, engaging activities in the after-school hours. And our program helps to meet that need. So we work with, after-school programs at a number of different school sites, boys and girls clubs, youth centers, park and rec programs, the places where young people are going or hanging out after school. And we go on site. We bring our mentors with us, and then we match them one-on-one with an elementary school or middle school youth. And so it's, and then the rest of it is just like our other program. They're a one-to-one match. They do things on site that they're interested in, or they hang out talking, play games, do arts and crafts, shoot hoops, and they're building their relationship. And I can tell you that it's been a really great benefit to all of the after-school programs we're a part of, because one of the things that I think a lot of after-school programs have challenges with is finding meaningful programming that has been shown to have measurable results and outcomes.
Right, that's always the goal, to find measurable results.
Mm-hmm.
And so what exactly does mentoring consist of? How does it work? What's the magic to it, or how does that take place?
Well, mentoring is really, it's basic human connection. Mentoring is about connecting with a young person and believing in them, challenging them to do more than they thought possible, helping to, open their minds to new opportunities or new perspectives, new ways of seeing the world, letting them know that there is a broader world outside of their home, outside of their neighborhood, outside of their, community, and that they have an opportunity to be a part of those things. And so really, I think that our program is incredibly powerful, but at the same time, it's incredibly simple. We're about building relationships, basic human relationships, relationships based on communication, based on trust, based on caring for each other. And, those types of relationships have been shown time and time again to have an incredible impact on young people's lives.